Hey guys, what's up, man? Back on the IAC trip again on the Holley thing here. So, trying to get, I've got my fuel injection working, but I'm still trying to get the IAC worked out. And I actually did, as you know, I'm running a Ford engine, 351 Windsor. But I'm not running the Ford IAC valve, or motor, stepper valve, whatever you want to call it. So I'm actually having issues trying to find the right one of these stepper motors the right size to have it seal up, really well, I guess. But so I got another IAC valve, and I'll go through each one and the problems I have with each one. But this is actually a IAC off a newer engine, I think a 4.3 with 2.5 liter. Not sure 100%, but this is actually a newer GM style IAC valve, and you can tell by well, I don't think this is actually for a V8. This is actually for a smaller engine. And that's why you actually have the smaller pintle. And this is my new one that I got. And this is actually off a mid-90s LT1 engine. So it was the engine before they went to the LS1 engine. And this is the one I've been running for the last couple weeks. And this is the one off the LS1 engine right here. And you can tell by the pintles are totally different. So this one doesn't seem to seal away. I hear a lot of air. Like right now I have my IAC totally shut off. And at idle, so it's just going off the throttle blades. But I hear like a hissing sound. So I can put my thumb over it and the air is definitely getting through. Like it's probably never going to be 100% sealed. Like it's not going to be like an airtight seal, but it just seemed like a lot of air was getting past there. So I was doing some research, and then I couldn't tell for sure, so I went to the auto parts store and I brought this one with me, and I wanted to look at them because they look exactly the same, except for the pintle is different. So I'm trying to see how it sits. And what's weird is they all have a different output. The way the wire goes. So if you look at this connector, so this is actually how they should normally sit on the engine. Well, this should be like that. Well, I'm trying to give you like a relation of how this connector sits differently. One the angle that they're faced at here. So okay, so I'm gonna put that on there, and hopefully I can get. I'll do tests and see if I can get it at least better or tight. And now I need to get my goal today was to get the IAC dialed in. I mean, I'd love to be able to get my idle down to like 750 RPM and to 800. It is an automatic AOD, so well, I'll try to get as low as I possibly can to keep the engine at least running reliably. So I go through my Holley software and make sure that's all set up correct. And to me, that's actually one of the hardest parts about the software that I've felt. I mean, I even have the same issue with the Terminator, getting IAC right. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't know. It might be easy for other people, but it seems to be a pain in the ass for me for some reason. So, alright, cool. So I'm going to get that on there, and I'll show you real quick where I'm putting it. Like, on the small GM stepper motor, I had to reverse this around, but the LS1, I couldn't get the connector on over here, so I flipped this around, because normally I'd have this backwards, flipped around, and the IAC motor come out the top. But because the way the connector came down would have interfered with my bracket here. So I'm going to get that on and see if I hear any noise. I might reverse this around. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to see the position of the wire. So, alright, I'll get this back on. This will focus in. Maybe see if I can go back a little bit, like a little better. I don't know. So there's a couple different ways I can program this. Obviously, if you're doing a Holley software, it's where am I at? I want to go back home. I want to go to tuning. Well, actually, first I want to go to monitor. Then I want to see multi-gauge. I want to see outputs. That way I can see my IAC position at 60%. So that's yeah, usually will go down. Okay, yeah, that's totally different. The other one would actually go to totally zero. And I can hear the IAC. Except I want to get this idle down to about 850. So the main thing is you gotta like set some setting. I'm at 8 position. I want to be about once the engine warms up, I want it to be about 3 to 5. You know, in out of gear. So let me try my IAC settings right here. Okay, I guess I'll just show you this thing. I mean, I can't do everything on this little dashboard, but I can do. It's under tuning. I think it's probably going to be advanced tuning and advanced idle, ramp down. Okay, right now. Okay, so I can do pretty much all the positions, most of the stuff right here. So I don't have to even bother going to my tablet to go into the Holley software. So right now the whole position is 0, so I don't want this thing to be running after I have it totally closed. I'm going to probably bump that back up to like 10 or 20 once I get this thing dialed in. We'll have to change my fuel map probably. Advanced tuning, advanced idle. I guess I can't control. Oh shit, let me hit home. I have to go back. Advanced idle. Advanced idle. Let's see. So right now I had this going to. Okay, so that's the stock curve, which is good. Park position. Yeah, I'm not going to probably mess with that so much. I just really want to mess with the actual idle. Idle speed is... Okay. So when it's cool... So as you can see, as the engine's colder, it raises the idle. I don't really want to mess with that. Just trying to remember like what I had to do here. Okay. I true. What was that going like? Idle control LS1. What are my options? I think the stealth ram is the screw in DPI. And then, oh yeah, then I need to choose a. They said that slow is the. Danny on the Holley forum said that slow is the best, at least the most reliable. But I need to probably mess with this thing here. Sorry, I'm not making any sense. I'm just rambling here. Yeah, I will mess with that later once I get this thing dialed in. So that ramp thing is, when the hold position is, as soon as I get off the, once the throttle position per sensor gets off 0%. Gets it like 1, 2, 3%, this thing will automatically go to wherever you put it at. So that it would stay parked or hold at 20%, which I don't really want to mess with yet. So, and this, it will start at 1,000 RPM or better. So, let's go home. I want to look at my where am I at with the multi-gauge outputs. So it's 0% right now. And look at my idle, I'm pretty high. So I'm going to start lowering that down with my screwdriver to like close the throttle blades. See if I can get that down, because I want this thing to start, you know, I want this thing to be down to 800, and I want the IAC to be controlling the idle, not my throttle blades. So this thing is at zero open here. So let me mess with it real quick. All right, cool. Alright guys, forgot, so I'm running right now. Yeah, obviously I'm running out. I'll go back to the phone screen and out of gear, monitor, and about 860. I think I have about 850. Obviously my, I didn't mean to go that way. I meant to go to sensors. So obviously I need to readjust my throttle position sensor because I was turning the throttle blade screws down. So let's go back, outputs, about 6%. But the main thing is you have to match, you have to make the tuning, basic tuning, basic idle. So I'm going to make this go down to 800 and see if I can get this to stabilize at 800. So this usually has to match. I'm assuming that by doing this, this will lower the, yeah, I knew this would go down. Because it's trying to get my engine to run at 800, so I'm going to bring the throttle blades even further a little bit back. Now what happens is now when I put this thing in gear, look at the IA position. That will open up to try to keep my engine at 800 RPM down here. See, it's as this opens up, my RPM raises here. Well, not perfect, but I think I'll have to. I don't know. I don't think my fuel table is really built down there, so this will have to like relearn here. Okay. Acceptable. So now I got to go back now and bring my throttle plates even a little bit closer down, because it's this will keep on closing down until this gets to, it's going to try to hit 800. The goal is to hit 800 RPM. So I'm gonna just keep on messing with this. This, like I said, this is always the biggest pain in the ass for me. So this is definitely runs better than the Terminator, though, for sure, no doubt. The multi-port. Like, I used to get a lot of hunting with the Terminator all the time. Anytime I made a change to something, I'd have to go through this complete nightmare of doing this IAC thing again. Alright, awesome. Okay, so now that I have my car running about 800 and 4%, it ranges like 3 to 4%, anywhere from like, as long as you're between, like, I'd say like 3 to 5, if you can get close to that, that's ideally what they say you're supposed to do, but. So the main thing is, so now right now I'm out of gear, it's hot, and my fan fan just turned on, my cooling fan, and what I did is the IAC, because it puts a load on the alternator, my IAC position went up to 10 to keep this at 800. So the goal is to have the IAC control in the idle and not the throttle valves. So as soon as the fan kicks off, this will go back down to probably like anywhere from like 3 to 5, hopefully. So we will see. You guys didn't know what I was doing. I'm actually messing with the adjustments on a Ford. It's a fuel injected Ford multi-port. So the fan just kicked off, turned off. That's my AC motor. What's funny is it seems like what's it called, either or work, the LS1 or the they both seem to make about the same. They seem to seal the same, about the same. So the LS1 one cost about 120 and the other one was like 30. So okay, now I'm down to 13%. That's weird. Yeah, it's never. I kept on lowering it down. Alright, so it means that I gotta open the throttles up a little bit more. Because this thing is trying to open up to bring this up to 800. So, fuck, well, it just gotta mess with it, man. Back and forth, back and forth. I noticed that it behaves oddly sometimes when it just seems, it's like it's all over the place. So, I don't know, it's weird. But I mean, it's stable. It just, okay, the car runs stable, but the readings seem like they're everywhere, you know? It's kind of odd, you know what I mean? So it's almost like I'm not getting the right kind of reading, but the car is running fine at 800 RPM. It's staying there, regardless if I'm in gear or not, you know, it's sitting in gear. I mean, it does creep up and it takes a while for it to kick in. There it goes. And then also when the fan comes on, it goes up even higher. But it stays around 800 RPMs, which is good. That's kind of what I want, so I guess I'll see when it's cold. Yeah, I had to bust out my laptop too to check out some stuff too as well, so where is it? Let me sync up this thing. Get from ECU, because I made changes on the handheld. So anytime you make changes on the handheld, you have to get. You don't want to send. So let's see, advanced idle. I wanted to just see the parked. Okay, that's right. That's correct. Idle speed about 800. as you can see, as it's colder, it increases the the RPM range. So there, my fan just kicked on, and it brings up my AAC position. But that thing is hard to, doesn't seem very accurate. Stays now. The key is now, the trick is to put it in gear and have the fan on. The car didn't die. It's trying to compensate for it. So, well, we'll see. You know, if I can't get this thing stable at 800, I'll probably go back up to 850. But all right, man, cool.